like to call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. Please take roll.
Mr. Christensen.
Here.
Mr. McGregor.
Here.
Mr. Modrak.
Here.
Mr. Nagel.
Here.
Mrs. Rule.
Here.
Mr. Scalzo.
Here.
Mr. Spacuzza.
Present.
Mrs. Turner.
Here.
Mrs. Dobos.
Here.
All 9 members present.
Thank you. Before we begin the meeting, I'd like to make a couple presentations. In the midst of opening the school this year, with all the masking controversy and the long meetings, we weren't able to properly acknowledge the retirement of Miss Lori Sutton, our Director of Special Education. And we would like to take this opportunity to recognize her with our appreciation. Lori began her career with the district as the Assistant Director of Special Education in 2003. She was promoted to the position of Director of Special Education in January of 2013 and held that position until her retirement this summer. Ms. Sutton has worked tirelessly with parents, teachers, administrators, and students in developing our special services program. In multiple instances during my tenure, her knowledge and expertise have helped the school board in decision-making, and for that we are appreciative. Additionally, over the years, Lori was instrumental in the writing of the SRO, SPO, and Safe Schools initiatives, in writing competitive targeted grants, and in writing the more recent ESSERS grants. She was a key player in crisis management and has supported students in the early college enrollment program. Annually, Lori coordinated and participated in the process of the Miranda Awards. An award started in 2012 by a parent in memory of a 2007 special education student that attended Pathfinder. This award has been given to one of our special education students who displays determination in overcoming obstacles. Lori also attended State Representative Dan Miller's annual Disability and Mental Health Summits, where she was also a presenter. She has been involved with numerous events at our fellow schools, such as Pathfinder, Auberly, and Wesley, yeah, sorry, and countless others, schools which help serve our students with their many needs. Thank you, Lori, and we hope retirement brings you joy and relaxation. In appreciation for your dedication to this district and for your tireless efforts for our students, please come forward to accept some gifts from us, gifts that will keep you out of the kitchen for some evenings and meals. She's going into the circle.
No hiding.
Our certificate of appreciation. Thank you. And a little.
They should have taken their mask off the picture. Thank you all so much. It's been such an honor and a privilege to work for the district. And so I don't cry, I did come up with something a little funny to say, was I've been here 18 and a half years, which, not counting this board election, I was here for 9 board elections, something the school board members can relate to, 9 superintendents, something that Dr. Walsh can relate to. And I did a quick estimate of just about 5,000 student meetings, which was the joy of my life. And thank you all so much. I loved serving the students and families, and seeing the kids at the high school that I had known when they were young was truly a joy, one of my favorite parts of the job. And I hope to continue to serve in the field of special education, and I wish you all the very, very best. Just not K-12 director.
In our next presentation, we would like to recognize Dr. Janet O'Rourke. Janet O'Rourke will be leaving this district at the end of December to begin her retirement. Dr. O'Rourke and I shared some of our career time together since she was an administrator when I was still teaching. I remember working on curriculum committees with her many times, and just recently we were able to recreate some of that shared focus while on the Strategic Plan Curriculum Committee as co-chairs. I'm not that astute with data analysis, but I can tell you that Dr. O'Rourke excels in that area, and she ably shares those insights with all of us. In contrast to her ability, though, to analyze data, Janet has always advocated as her mantra, what is best for our students. She has worked diligently to make sure that our students are taken care of academically, socially, and emotionally. Janet began her career in Bethel as the assistant principal at Neil Armstrong Middle School in 1999. She was promoted to principal at Neil Armstrong in 2002 and held that position until she became the director of secondary education 5 through 12. In 2016, Janet was again promoted, this time to the assistant to the superintendent in charge of evaluations, human resources, and assessments. Her most recent promotion in 2020 brought her to the current position of assistant superintendent for curriculum and special services. As assistant superintendent, Dr. O'Rourke has guided and helped us as the board plan for the Bethel Park School District's future vision in our strategic plan. She also helped us to navigate the COVID crisis and our transition in administrative personnel. Her history with Bethel Park has been invaluable to us during the last 2 years. Most recently, she stepped up to help us at IMS with Mr. Minch's transition to special services. We're grateful for her willingness to step in whenever needed. Dr. O'Rourke has also served as a board of director with the PA Association of Elementary and Secondary Principals. She's secured several grants, such as the Highmark Healthy High Five grant. Last year, she coordinated an effort with Bethel Park Borough and the Recreation Department for a series of healthy living workshops, which were held at the Bethel Park Community Center. Dr. O'Rourke has also been instrumental in the implementation of the new PA state mandates in regard to teacher evaluations, Common Core, TIMS, and PIMS, and the comprehensive plan. Dr. O'Rourke has always been Bethel Park proud, and we've been lucky to have her generous, perceptive, and intelligent abilities during her tenure with us. Thank you, Dr. O'Rourke. We hope your retirement is restful and joyful, and please come forward to accept some gifts from us that will also keep you out of the kitchen.
I don't. Okay, thanks. I hate to say it, but this is one of those times where I'm really at a loss for words. I have been privileged, without a doubt, working in the Bethel Park School District. And somebody once said, and I don't know where the quote came, but you know success when you feel that you've left someplace better than you received it. And I truly hope that I did that, because I really felt that I put my best effort always first and really kept a focus on the kids. And I think I'm finishing my career here in Bethel Park the best way I possibly can. Being at Independence Middle School with the kids and talking to kids every day has been extraordinary. And actually, the last thing that I will do as the assistant superintendent in the Bethel Park School District is read a bedtime story on Franklin's Bedtime Stories on December 23rd. So I'm honored to have been a part of this great school district, working with extraordinary people across the board. There's not any student that is second to none. They are just extraordinary students, extraordinary families, and I'm blessed. Thank you.
I would also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank my fellow board members whose terms, like mine, are also coming to an end this month. Ms. Connie Rule has been a faithful and dedicated board member for 24-plus years. Since April of 1997, she served this community and school district as a liaison with our vocational school, Steele Center, with the South Hills Area School District Association, SHASDA, as an elective representative with the Allegheny Intermediate Unit, and as a representative for the Pennsylvania School Board Association. Connie's years of experience have been invaluable. Thank you, Connie. Russ Spacuzza has also had years of experience on the board, serving at the school district twice, from 2008 to 2017, and now since 2019. His knowledge and expertise regarding facilities guided us toward our future needs in the strategic plan. Russ's volunteer efforts in our community through Rotary and the Bethel Park Community Foundation also provided students with beneficial opportunities to give back to the community through service, as he shows us with his example. Thank you, Russ. Ken Nagel brought a fresh perspective and unique perspective to the board over the past 4 years, never hesitant about asking hard questions. I've found his work on this board to be personally motivating. A parent, a veteran, an electrician, and an advocate, Ken's comments and concerns always had the best interests of the students and community foremost. His initiative in creating the Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity Committee has sparked our district's efforts to ensure that we are a welcoming and accepting school community. Thank you, Ken. My term in office will also conclude with the board's reorganization meeting on December 7th. And my 8 years as school district have been rewarding, and I'm grateful to the citizens of Bethel Park for electing me. During my 2-year tenure as board president, I believe we've accomplished much by hiring our excellent superintendent, Dr. Walsh, by safely navigating the COVID crisis, by completing a 5-year strategic plan, which includes an educational and fiscally responsible facilities projection for the future, and by hiring several dynamic new administrators in the last 2 years. We will vote on that plan tonight, and with that vote, the next 5 years will have a roadmap to follow. With educational excellence as the board's focal point, the strategic plan goals ensure that the Bethel Park School District reflects the best in class. I'm also grateful for the friendship and support of the other board members, Jim Modrak, Barry Christensen, Darren McGregor, Vince Scalzo, and Kim Walsh-Turner. I feel that the progress made over the last 2 years can be attributed to how well the 9 of us have worked together for a common vision, and I wish the new board members much success as they begin their journey. Buffy Faze, Dan Gribzak, Gail Hopi, and Sharon Janusek. And with that, let's get started on our meeting tonight. I need a motion to adopt the agenda for business items.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Nagel and seconded by Mr. Spikuza. All in favor, will you please put up the vote?
Open? Yeah.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 26, 2021.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Rule, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Christensen.
Voting is open. Mrs. Roll?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I'd like to announce executive session on November 8th, 2021, and November 16th, 2021 for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information. At this time, student government has informed me that they do not have a report for tonight. PTO, PTA, I believe Neil Armstrong is reporting tonight.
Yes, hello, Mrs. Dobos, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, it is Roylee McGregor. I am the co-president of Neil Armstrong Middle School, and I will be reading the report tonight. Abraham Lincoln Elementary, the Lincoln students celebrated Halloween wearing their orange and black spirit wear while enjoying party treat bags created by parent and guardian volunteers. We very much look forward to returning to in-person class party celebrations sometime soon. The PTO provided our teachers with a catered dinner and desserts during the parent guardian teacher conferences. We also assembled a digital directory that was sent out to our families. The families of Lincoln donated socks for kindergarten service project celebrating letter person Miss S. We are proud to announce that kindergarten donated 542 pairs of socks to SHIM to help families in need this coming winter. Our next service projects are pajama, toy, and food bank drives. We were able to hold another school store event during lunch and recess. Students enjoyed getting to shop for their favorite smelly pencil or squishy. World Kindness Day was celebrated on Friday, November 12th. It was so cute seeing everyone in their cardigans, just like Mr. Rogers. It's always nice to be reminded to be kind and fill someone's bucket. Tuesday, November 16th, the Lincoln PTO will hold a spirit night at Toss Pizza on McMurray Road in Upper St. Clair. Profits benefit the PTO. Students will also have fun celebrating Crazy Hair Day on Wednesday, November 17th. We are finishing up our Sarah's candy sales and have a spirit wear sale happening as well. We continue to participate in Amazon Smile, Market Day, and Box Top fundraisers. George Washington Elementary's outdoors Halloween parties went very well, and students enjoyed being outside for the festivities. Winners for the pumpkin decorating contest and the Cheplex meat raffle were announced. A night at the races has been rescheduled for May 7th, 2022. The Sarah's fundraiser just wrapped up and was very profitable. The Sugar Creek candle sale that also ended recently was successful. They are planning a poinsettia sale for the holidays. Due to COVID restrictions, the holiday laser show assembly was rescheduled and will now be held in March with a different theme. They are currently running a yearbook cover competition where students submit their artwork for the yearbook cover design. The winner will receive a new camera and accessories. Planning for the holiday shop is underway. Cookies with Santa, a family holiday event, is planned for December 3rd. This year it will be an outdoor event with use of multiple rental tents and generators. Students will take pictures with Santa, do a craft, play games, and have other surprises awaiting them. William Penn Elementary. October was a fun month at William Penn. They ran a brand new and very successful cookie dough fundraiser. The pickup date is at the end of this month. They expect to bring in a nice profit. They had a restaurant spirit day with Chick-fil-A. School pictures went well. They had their first in-person book fair in 2 years. The kids loved it. The fourth graders enjoyed a hayride at Simmons Farm. The fall festival was a big hit. They raised funds for the fourth grade committee with donations from the food trucks of Woodstoke Barbecue and Hot Buns. They recently had a fundraiser with Moe's Taco Kits. PTO provided Moe's catering dinner for staff during virtual teacher conferences on November 2nd. They held a virtual meeting where they discussed plans going forward for winter holiday activities. PTO purchased flags for in-person students for Veterans Day. They are looking forward to more Spirit Night fundraisers, Sarah's chocolate sales, and planning winter holiday events. Neil Armstrong Middle School. School and popcorn Fridays continue to be popular, and the community has begun donating items to sell at the school store. Their most recent fundraiser was the pasta fundraiser and made about $718 profit and good feedback from the school. The color run was held on November 13th and had over 150 participants registered. The event included raffle baskets, 50-50, and a bake sale. The total profit was a little over $2,700. Thanks to all involved, including Mr. Patterson, who permitted the kids to throw color on him. In preparation for the holidays, the PTO is planning a virtual Santa shop as well as a fundraiser at Five Below. Trivia night has been moved to January, and they will begin to re-promote in the coming weeks. They would like to thank all the Bethel Park families, especially the parent volunteers who continue to support the programming put in place by the PTO. Independence Middle School. The annual holiday craft show will be held on Saturday, November 20th. They have over 50 vendors and crafters participating this year. The PTSO is also running a spiritware sale with delivery in December. These two fundraisers will help fund all activities for the remainder of the year.
Thank you.
That is it from me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that the PTO and PTO organizations are doing. Ms. Zundel, do you have a solicitor report?
I do, Mrs. Dobos. Thank you. I just want to take an opportunity to congratulate all the outgoing board members on your service and thank you for your service. I will miss working with you, but I'm looking forward to establishing good working relationships with the 4 incoming board members as well. I have an update, a legal update. It's not as exciting as the PTO's update, but nonetheless, it's important. So I think everybody is aware that last Wednesday, the Secretary of Health's masking order was deemed invalid from its inception. And the Commonwealth took an immediate appeal to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, which effectuated a stay of the masking order, that the masking order would continue in effect until a decision was made. The plaintiffs did petition the Commonwealth Court for that to be revoked and removed so that masking would not be required under the order. And they were successful. So as of today, an order was issued effective December 4th. The masking order will no longer be in effect for public school districts. However, the date of December 4th was picked by the court on purpose because the Pennsylvania Bulletin will be issued that day, and that is the publication by which the governor can issue an emergency order requiring schools on December 4th to mask children. So long story short, right now we are still under the masking order from August 31st, but we have to stay tuned to see what the state decides to do on December 4th. whether they will issue a renewed emergency order requiring masking, or whether districts will really have to revert back to their health and safety plan, which for Bethel Park does require masking in all structures and buildings. That's the summary. It's not straightforward. It's always convoluted when it comes to masking, but we will continue to monitor it in our office and provide updates to clients as they become available. And
Ms.
that's all I have.
Sundal, before you move on, may I just ask a question pertaining to that? Just for clarification of the public. What you're speaking of is the order from the governor requiring masking. Our health and safety policy requires masking when in district buildings, irregardless of this, how this is found. So when we're looking for clarity, we have it within our health and safety plan, do we not? We are required to mask regardless of what the courts find.
That is accurate, and thank you, Mr. Nagel, for that clarification. I do think that in factions of residents who were looking for masking to be removed, there sometimes ends up being confusion. So it is helpful to make crystal clear that Bethel Park's health and safety plan requires masking. No matter what happens December 4th, that will still be in effect. Okay?
Ms. Sundal, transportation, again, can you explain that? Because that's not under the governor's order, that's a federal order, right?
That is correct. That is a federal order that has been issued that requires masking on public conveyances, which include school buses. And again, that is outside of the masking order that was issued on August 31st,
So that'll stay in effect
until further notice.
And the PD and CDC guidance pertaining to contact tracing is still in effect, correct?
That is correct, yes. Okay, so that's all I have. Thank you, Mrs. Dobus.
Thank you very much. At this time in the meeting, we'll have committee reports. I will report on the Shade Tree Commission. In the last couple weeks, there have been 3 plantings, one at Millennium Park, one at Memorial, and one at IMS. The plantings have involved the students, and they've been teaching the students about how to plant, the value of trees, and the various things that trees can provide for us, particularly around the schools regarding runoff and shade. And all of the trees that have been planted are native to Pennsylvania. And if you are interested, Dave Cable from Bethel Park TV has created a video that you can take a look at and watch the process in all of those 3 places. And this is through Tree Pittsburgh and One Tree Per Child, which all of the trees have been donated, and they come out and they help us in that process of planting them also. So hopefully this relationship with the Shade Tree Commission and the district will continue. Mr. Fierce has been instrumental in making it happen, and I want to thank you for that. Did you want to say anything about the planting, or?
I'd just like to add that the plantings did go very well, and we did have some kind of rescheduling issues, but once we actually had the dates, the last planting was last Friday, and it was an absolutely beautiful day, and everything just went as well as it possibly could have.
Yeah, I watched the video, and the students seemed to be very happy to be out in the sunshine and helping with planting of the trees and so forth. So that Shade Tree Commission meets 4 times a year to help coordinate that. Mr. Modrak, you want to report about
Yes,
the
the
recreation?
Bethel Park Recreational Board had a meeting on November 3rd, and 2 items of interest I'd like to report on. One, the Rec Board is sponsoring a turkey trot on Thanksgiving morning at 7:30. They'll be on the Montour Trail. They'll be based out of Washington Elementary School. But registration is online, and refer back to their website about registering for that event. And the other event they have is the Christmas tree light, or the tree lighting ceremony will be on Wednesday, December 1st at 6:45 PM, and that will be at the community center. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Modrak. Ms. Rule, do you have anything to report?
Yeah, we had an active meeting this past week with the Career Technical Education School, which all of you are familiar with. We had Duquesne Light came and gave us a presentation on a program that they're really promoting on electrical distribution technology program. And students can get scholarships and they get paid internships. It's a wonderful opportunity. They're going around to all the districts trying to promote it because, you know, there is a critical shortage in these areas. So if anybody wants any information, they can contact me, and I have all the information about the program. But it's a great opportunity for students and even adults that are looking to get into this profession. And there's several types of positions. And it's quite a process to go through, it really is. We were surprised when they presented it, what you had to have in order to get one of these. But it's a great opportunity. The other thing is that we are talking about at Still Center a $50 million renovation, but all the districts will have to vote on it, and they will pay their fair share, but it'll be over a long period of time. We're looking at really a good budget plan for that, and our share will be $7 million because we are the second largest, I think, market for the school. We also came in second for the number of students that attend that school again, so we do have quite a few students that are involved there. We own 2 buildings over at that property. We own the Mon Valley School and the Still Center School. So those are our assets. So you need to be aware of that. And you'll be voting on it anyway later. Also, I'd like to say that we had a veterans dinner over there. We had over 50 veterans came, and our culinary students cooked for them. And they really do a great job, and they're so proud of what they do. And the other thing is they're going to be starting services. We're going to be doing some revenue generating services, and one of them is going to be printing. And they've done some printing for schools, like for yearbooks and other things. It's amazing what they do. But we'll be bringing in some revenue into the school, that with the cosmetology class and other things that they can offer to the public. So I think that's a good step in the right direction. And I will be staying on I will be going on their executive council to stay with the school, to work with the businesses, and to see what we could do to beef up that part of it. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you for your report. Any other committee reports? Okay, the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mrs. Dobus. Good evening, everyone. First, on behalf of the administration, being the newest member, I think, of the administration, it is my honor to congratulate and wish sincere gratitude to the outgoing members of the board who have served Bethel Park so well in your tenure. I'm sitting here counting the years that you have accumulated and all the votes that you took to move Bethel Park were noted and acknowledged as a volunteer to help the kids in Bethel Park. So thank you for that service. Tonight we're beginning our fall-winter concert season. There's a band concert at the high school tonight, orchestra concert on Thursday. So this is the season where we get to enjoy the fruits of the students' labors over the past part of the fall semester. And I got a little preview of tonight's concert earlier in the week as I snuck around and listened to them rehearse. What a talented group we have. I'm sure it's going to be a great show this evening. Looking forward to all the other concerts lined up, and please mark your calendar to join at one of the schools and enjoy the music performances. I want to congratulate our fall sports teams and the coaches for a great season. A lot of accomplishments, and kudos to our athletes for their commitments and their skills and their achievements. Now that winter season's upon us, we wish luck to our winter sports season athletes as you head into your season practices. Good luck with your season. I'm going to tell the board that you're going to make a motion tonight to accept a retirement letter, and I wanted to tell you about this employee. This is Judy Kisanovich is on your agenda tonight with her letter of retirement. And she began her employment as a part-time health teacher at IMS in 1989. In 90, she became full-time health and phys ed teacher, and she's been in that position ever since. She's also been our girls volleyball, softball, and basketball coach over the years. We thank Judy for all of those years of service and keeping our kids into that healthy and productive lifestyle. And finally, I'm going to ask Mr. Cromie to unmute his mic and present his community updates for us now, please.
Sure, hello. I'd like to first echo Dr. Walsh's sentiments and thank the outgoing board members for your service and welcome the incoming board members. And I'm going to get to our good news. It starts with, we had military leaders last Friday. 3 very distinguished military leaders spoke with a group of high school students who may have an interest in working at high-level jobs within the military in regard to technology, artificial intelligence, national security, linguistics, engineering, foreign affairs, etc. The guests included Lieutenant General Laura A. Potter, who is the Deputy Chief of Staff, G2, to the Pentagon. Lieutenant General Potter reports directly to the Chief of Staff and the Commander of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Also joining the groups was Major General David C. Hill, who was originally from Wexford. And Major Hill, he is the Commanding General of the U.S. Army War College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And the other guest who spoke with the students was Dr. Douglas Maddie. He's the Director of Army Artificial Intelligence Capabilities. His organization is responsible for the development, coordination, and synchronization of artificial intelligence capability development for the Army. And while the task force is overseen by the Pentagon, the operational element of the task force, which is what Dr. Maddie heads, is actually located here in Pittsburgh at Carnegie Mellon. So it was a real honor for them to meet with our students and really came together at the last moment. And really have to credit Mr. Velati for helping to make that happen. And I think it was an amazing opportunity for some of our students. Also last weekend, we wrapped up the production of You Can't Take It With You. It was a fabulous show. Unfortunately, Saturday's production was canceled. We had an unforeseen circumstance involving COVID-19, and everyone's feeling well, and the show was just fabulous, and hopefully we'll have a great performance in the spring as well. On Saturday, November 20th, we have the SEED Project is holding its 6th annual Operation Feed a Neighbor Food and Household Supply Drive. Donations will be collected from 9 a.m. until noon at the Spencer Family YMCA just up the street from the high school. Unfortunately, there are local families and seniors who are facing some tough financial times, and some may not be able to have a traditional Thanksgiving dinner. So that's why they're reaching out to the community and looking for any sort of donations people can provide. If anyone would like to assist, or if they have any questions, they can contact Diane Ford at 412-523-8019. Spartan Pharmacy hosted a pair of flu vaccination clinics and an employee COVID-19 booster clinic. They had that, the vaccination clinic for the staff was on October 29th. That was for the flu, and the flu vaccination for students and their families was on November 1st. And the booster vaccine was also last Friday, which was obviously quite a busy day here. Over the weekend, the high school competitive cheer squad took first place in their division at the UCA Allegheny Regional Competition at Slippery Rock University. That earns them a bid to the national competition at Walt Disney World and Resorts in February, and that's quite an honor. We talked a little bit about the One Tree Per Child program, so I'm going to skip over that, but it was, as someone who was at all 3 plantings, it was awesome. It's a perfect STEM type of program. I'd also like to compliment our METS food service. The Allegheny County Health Department recently concluded their first round of unannounced inspections of Bethel Park School District cafeterias, and all cafeterias passed inspection and earned a combined total of 51 Diamond Awards. Diamonds are the highest award given by the Health Department, and they are only given to those facilities that demonstrate exceptional sanitation and food handling practices. The Allegheny County Health Department annually conducts 2 unannounced inspections of of school district cafeterias, and Bethel Park regularly cleans up in those inspections. Bethel Park will hold a special English as a second language night from 7 to 8 p.m. on Wednesday, November 17th at IMS. The hour-long presentation will focus on the 4 domains of reading, writing, speaking, and listening. It will also give our guests an understanding of how the school district assesses with ESL students, as well as how the district assesses their progress. All guests in attendance will be automatically registered to win a $50 gift card from Giant Eagle. Also this week on Thursday is Children's Grief Awareness Day, and this is Children's Grief Awareness Week. And children and staff in grades 5 through 12 are invited to wear blue and write the name of a deceased or very ill loved one on a butterfly to be displayed on an honor wall. This type of event, while healthy, can also create a myriad of complex feelings for students, so our counselors are happy to follow up with any families that are having trouble dealing with loss. And our counseling department's really doing a great job. Wallet Hub named Bethel Park among the best small cities in America. The new study from Wallet Hub named Bethel Park the number 16th best small city in America and the second best small city in Pennsylvania. And its criteria was affordability, safety, local economy, healthcare, restaurants, and education. So they registered more than 1,300 small cities across America. That's who they studied. This Saturday, November 20th, IMS will host its annual craft show from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. We're pretty excited about that. If you're interested in it, you can always contact Caitlin Gensler at gensler.caitlin@bphawks.org. I would like to also congratulate our PIAA state finalists with her third place finish at the PIAA state championships. Mia Gorman wrapped up her storied high school tennis career with 2 section championships, 2 WPIAL gold medals, 2 WPIAL bronze medals, 1 PIAA silver medal, and 1 PIAA bronze medal. She also had the unique distinction of losing to the eventual state champion all 4 years. Also, I'd like to congratulate sophomore Jenna Lang, who placed 15th in the PIAA State Cross Country Championships in Hershey a few weekends back. And finally, I just want to talk about, we have 14 high school student athletes who signed their letters of intent to compete in their respective sports at the collegiate level. That happened last week. The 6 Blackhawk student athletes representing 4 different sports have committed to play Division I schools, while 8 other Division II signees also signed on. Congratulations to the following Blackhawk student athletes who participated in National Signing Day. In boys baseball, we had David Kessler, who's going to IUP. Boys basketball, Dolan Waldo, also going to IUP. In boys lacrosse, Owen Peters is going to Mount St. Mary's. In boys swimming, Dominic Cortopazzi is going to Clarion. In girls basketball, Emma Dizgowski is going to Wheeling. In girls lacrosse, they had 4 signees. Riley Miller is going to St. Joe's. Sydney Costco is going to Edinburgh. Caitlin Schultz is going to Virginia Wise. And Victoria Krapp is going to Seton Hill. In girls softball, Sandra Soltis is going to Pitt. Alexandra Snogaki is going to Holy Cross. Delaney Sierra is going to Penn State New Kensington, and Abby Quickle is going to Robert Morris. And of course, Mia Gorman, the young lady we just talked about, she's going to Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville. There will be more signings as the year goes on, but for the first signing period, that's quite a haul and something we should be very proud of. Finally, I want to talk about today was Bethel Park High School Day at Piata Italian Street Food. And members of the Top 21 Chorus sang the Star Spangled Banner to help launch one of our newest neighbors, Piata Italian Street Food. All proceeds raised today will go directly to Bethel Park High School. So if you haven't eaten dinner yet, wait for the meeting to end, of course. But when the meeting ends, if you're still hungry, please visit Piata Italian Street Food and support the high school. That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cromie. And Mrs. Dobas, I'd appreciate a moment during the personnel section to share some more news, but that's all I have for now.
Sure.
Thank you.
At this time, we will be accepting public comments on agenda items. To comment during a public meeting at this meeting, you may call 412-851-6911. Each commenter is required to state their name, home address, and a description of their comment. Please be reminded that the public comments right now at the beginning of the meeting are reserved for agenda items only. Public comments about non-agenda items can be shared at the end of the meetings. Board policy limits each public comment to 2 minutes in duration, and we ask that the public bear this in mind. Mr. McCausland, are there any calls?
There are no calls at this time.
Okay, we will wait 30 seconds for the delay, and then we will proceed with the meeting. Any calls?
No callers.
Okay, this is a combined committee meeting and business meeting. So first of all, each chair will ask if there are any questions on any of the items or any discussion on any of the items before they move the items. And then once they move them, we'll have another opportunity to discuss if needed before we vote on them. Mr. Scalzo, will you take the curriculum committee, please?
Okay, under curriculum committee, we have 2 items. First item is approval of the Bethel Park School District Comprehensive Plan, and number 2, school-sponsored overnight educational activities. Leave it open for discussion.
Can someone in administration please explain the difference between the comprehensive plan and the strategic plan for the public?
Sure, I'll be happy to do that. So the strategic plan that's also on tonight's agenda further down is a comprehensive 5-year plan that covers all aspects of the district operation, from facilities and infrastructure, business and finance, including instruction, curriculum, student support services, and even diversity, equity, and inclusion. The comprehensive plan is a state requirement that takes pieces of the strategic plan, specifically the curriculum and instruction piece and student experience piece, and weaves them into a form of a comprehensive or a strategic plan. Also required to submit with the plan is how your professional development plans will be handled over the next 3 years. Your special education plan is also infused into the comprehensive plan, all in one larger comprehensive plan. It's a 3-year piece that's required from the Commonwealth, and so we drew directly from the strategic plan to populate the comprehensive plan. It's an online form that you fill out, and it's kind of prescriptive, and so you put something in one cell and it shows up 3 or 4 more times, so it does look a little wonky when you try and read it cover to cover, but it's essentially the meat and potatoes of our our strategic plan.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other questions or comments about any of the other items? Looks like our band might be going to Disney this year.
And that's item 2 on the agenda, is a request for approval for the overnight travel. The district administration, Dr. Gensani's been working closely with the planning group about that to ensure all of those precautions would be carefully followed, so students would be safe on this trip. It is an opportunity for them to get back to what they've been known for doing for years, and that's marching, performing, getting adjudicated, and really on a national level.
Thank you. Okay, would you like to move them, please?
Yes. I'd like to move items 1 and 2 under curriculum committee.
Second.
Seconded, moved by Mr. Scalzo, seconded by Mr. Christensen. Any other comments or questions?
This is the approval to let the staff members go on the trip to do the substitutes that will be needed at that time. This is not us approving the trip.
I think it is.
It's to permit the students and their chaperones.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, Mr. McCausland?
Voting is open. Mrs. Roll?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. McGregor, personnel?
Okay, under personnel, there are 7 items. I didn't believe Dr. Walsh wanted to say something. Now, Dr. Walsh, should we vote on all of these first and then give you time afterwards?
Yeah,
Okay.
at least on item 4, if I could speak to that after you approve it.
Yes, okay. All right, first one, changes to the extracurricular pay schedule, current positions. Number 2, the approval of extra duty responsibility program. Number 3 is the acceptance of resignations. Number 4, appointment of personnel. Number 5, approval of staffing changes. Number 6, change of assignment. And 7, approval of Schoology champion. Any questions, discussion?
So is the number 1, the Interact, that's the position at IMS? It's going to be an additional position we're approving? Is that correct?
Yeah, so that would be an additional, that group itself has blown up and they are doing extraordinary things. So when we got to see what they were doing, we felt as administration, they needed another position, so.
So there's 1 at the high school and 2 at IMS now, or 1 at each school?
So it's gonna be combined, so 2, it's just gonna be 2 interacts, but they also combine through IMS and high school, so they work together to do both.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to be clear about that. And the art club position is because we've had so much interest at that school that we
Yeah,
felt.
and we never had an art club at IMS, so we felt it was time to have an art club at IMS.
Okay.
I think we've had an art club that was just called an AV club.
Yes, correct. It was never official, so now it's official.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, Mr. Pictionary, quick question. So we're hiring 2 new campus managers. We're transferring 1, or change of title. So we still have openings?
Correct, we have 1 more opening for campus managers.
Thank you.
Just one question on number 3. You know, there's a retroactive resignation of a bus driver, and we've gotten some emails from people because we got some variation in the schedule of buses. Where do we stand here? I mean, how close are we at full capacity of our bus drivers, or how much of an issue is it?
We're still about 4 drivers short to getting back to where we were.
Okay.
It's 4 with the extra hiring we have tonight, we're still 4 short. All right, so we got a wash here, 1 resigned, 1 hired. Okay.
Okay, if there are no other comments or questions, I move items 1 through 7.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Scalzo. Items 1 through 7 under personnel. Any other comments or questions about these items?
Voting is open.
Yes.
Mrs. Roll? Motion carries.
Okay. Dr.
Okay,
Walsh?
so before we move on, Dr. Walsh?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. McGregor. On the appointments section of the agenda tonight, the board did approve a new principal for Independence Middle School. We'll start to introduce to you tonight Raquel Sutton. She'll be coming to us from Southmoreland School District, where she's been a middle school principal for this year and an assistant principal for 3 years prior to that, and was at the Greensburg-Salem School District, where she was an administrator for 5 years. So lots of administrative experience and teaching experience at the middle school level. We're looking forward to having Ms. Sutton join us and bring that middle school model and her experience with that model to Independence. I believe she's on the WebEx tonight. We've asked her to prepare a few comments, so Raquel, if you could unmute your mic, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. I am honored to be accepted into this position and to serve the Bethel Park Community and School District. I'm looking forward to everything that is coming in the future, to work with the strategic plan and the comprehensive plan, and to meet all of the staff and get started as soon as possible. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really excited to get started.
Thank you. We're glad to have you too.
So we lose a Sutton and gain a Sutton?
Yeah.
Yes. Apparently we.
Very good.
Right.
Welcome, Ms. Sutton. Thank you. Mr. Spacuzza.
Thank you, Mrs. Dobis. There's one item this evening under Facility and Services Committee. It's the approval of a change order for the high school excavation project. And I would like an explanation myself, so I would appreciate that. Someone could help us out.
Yes, I can address that. So can Mr. Fierce as well. But basically, we're getting ready to complete the job, which includes adding the topsoil. And with the past rain that we've had over the last month, that topsoil's gotten very saturated. So we're going to add lime to the topsoil in order to properly spread it and compact it in the way that will be ready for the spring.
Sounds like a very good explanation.
Any other questions on that?
On just another follow-up, since we're going to put the limestone in, what is the projected completion of there for the courtyard?
It was December 1st. I think we're pretty close to that, aren't we now?
We are very close to having the actual fill and backfill and grade done December 1st. We're going to wait, just due to the weather, to pour the new concrete sidewalk just so it sets with the proper temperature and we have the proper stability for it.
And I asked before, again, the same answer. Obviously, it has been the whole time available for emergency egress if needed.
Correct.
Thank you, that's all.
And one other question also. I guess you'll wait till the spring for seeding and everything?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr.
So,
Spacuzza, will you
yes,
move it?
I would like to move the one item this evening under Facility and Services, the approval of the change order for the high school excavation project.
Second.
And seconded by Mr. Modrak. Any further questions or comments? Okay, Mr. McCausland.
Voting is open. This is
Yes.
roll. Motion carries.
Okay, Mr. Christensen, see if anything needs to be held out also.
Yeah. In the finance area, we have 14 items. Before we move this, does anybody have questions on any of these? I have a couple. Where did it go? Oh, the district vehicle, is that for snow plowing, or what's that for?
With our shop mechanic, he does a lot of field work versus pulling tractors and other equipment into his shop. He actually repairs them in the field, and this way he'll be able to bring the proper tools, save on mileage, and be able to make the repair directly in the area it needs to be done versus having to haul everything back to a shop.
Yeah.
Would it also be outfitted for plowing if needed, right?
Yes.
So this isn't a replacement, this is an additional.
It's in addition to, but the truck he currently uses is starting to near the end of his service life. So we're going to have that as a backup truck, but this will essentially replace that.
It's pretty difficult to find vehicles right now, and this one we found available, so
Yeah,
we
but-
thought we would take the opportunity to seize it before it was snatched up by someone else.
Sell it next year for more.
I'd like to hold out 14.
Okay, yeah. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll move
I
to
was,
items
I
one
was
through
thinking that maybe Ms. Zundel could explain a little bit about the engagement letter to the public, as much as you are able to.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a proposal that the school district engage a special construction litigation counsel. That is a technical area of practice that our firm does not provide somebody who has the ability to dedicate the time and expertise to that Ms. Quinn Horgan does with her firm. She is an attorney who also has similar contracts with Upper St. Clair and Peters Township, our other clients in the area. There's one specific matter of litigation that she will be working on pursuant to this engagement letter.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments about any of these items before Mr. Christensen moves them?
Okay, with no other questions, I move to approve items 1 through 13.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Walsh-Turner. Any other comments or questions on items 1 through 13? Whoops, 1 through, 13. Okay, Mr. McCausland?
Voting is open.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, number 14, I move to adopt or to approve the amended contract with Hayes Design Group.
I need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Spacuzza. And this is the contract for the Independence Middle School renovation project, Phase 1.
Let's clarify, though, that this does not mean we're moving sixth grade to IMS at this point in time.
We have decided that it's not being moved
I just
next
want the
year.
public to know that we're
Yes.
voting on this, but we are not moving sixth grade to IMS at this time.
Right. Comments, questions?
So at this point, this vote right here, we will be entering in phase 1. And what is the cost again?
So this vote does not enter into phase 1.
It does
You
not.
did that already. You
Okay.
already have an agreement with Hayes, but it was missing the amount. And
Okay.
we discussed at the time that we were tabling that until we had a more accurate cost of the project. And now that we know more closely, within a few percentage points of what the final cost of phase 1 will be, we were comfortable negotiating the lump sum price with the Hayes Group.
Okay, I have-
This actually just finishes what was missing in the previously approved agreement.
And
What's-
the recommendation from our solicitor was to come with a lump sum, right? Or who came with that recommendation for lump sum rather than a percentage-based?
We did.
Okay. Our administration recommended a lump sum rather than something based on percentages or
Percentage.
commissions.
In
Okay.
other words, so if there were any changes or unforeseen circumstances when the construction begins, there would be no additional fees paid to the Hayes Group to solve those issues.
Okay.
I have another question. For those spaces that will be obviously renovated, do we have an official internal study of how it's going to fit our curriculum for those sixth graders? The actual spaces themselves.
They're going to fit the curriculum that's currently in place.
And we know that what they're doing, what they're going to do to that space will accommodate our program as is right now.
It'll accommodate the sixth grade curriculum as is with the addition of STEAM programming. That space will be, they're adding that space to
And
the,
did we get 3D renderings of any of the rooms to look at the functionality of the spaces?
just tonight we got some things. I haven't even looked at them yet, but there were some of the preliminary renderings that were delivered via electronic here.
The reason why, just, you know, if it's a facelift, you know, if it's paint, you know, if it's lighting, flooring, I know an elevator, changing over the ramp, moving walls, doing things like that. I just want to make sure that the functionality of those spaces for each of those disciplines is workable. Just because it has a facelift and it might look nice, will these spaces really work for our curriculum, you know, our students and those teachers, depending on what is where physically in the room. That's, I think, really meaningful for those teachers and those students inside. Just, there have been, and through my experience, I've seen this happen where you can have a new room and it doesn't function as well as the old room. It might look new, but it's not functioning as well as it should. So I just want to be really...
Well, the Hayes group did spend time with faculty getting input, and then went back again a few weeks later and met with additional folks for input on the designs. They also met with Mrs. Figlioli in helping to design the makerspace. So they've got direct input from the teachers that have to use spaces like that, yes.
And overwhelmingly, was there a survey done with the staff to see if they agreed that this would really work, or is it just how many people were involved with that?
I'm sorry, do you know how many people were involved?
The focus was on the key areas, like, for example, the science department, math department, English, world language. Not every teacher, but there was a representation from each of those departments.
So is that a small sampling? It's not a big sample. It's not like, I'm just making sure that everybody, you know, had a voice in this.
What each department was to do was to survey their full department, bring that information into the meeting, and they did do that. So, yes, everybody had input into the process.
It might be good to have a facilities meeting, maybe even, you know, next month, early next month. Once we get to the point, there's a really question for Hayes Group when they have the designs at a point where they're detailed enough for us to do a thorough review. But, you know,
Yeah,
I
in
think
fact, that
that's-
would be, they couldn't really go into place until the board approves them, so absolutely you're going to have
Right.
additional opportunities to examine the plans, comment on them, provide feedback, ultimately leading to what would probably be a January approval for public bid.
Yeah.
Other comments, questions, concerns? Okay, Mr. McCausland?
Voting is open. Mrs. Roll? Motion carries 7-2.
Ms. Turner? Any comments, questions, or concerns? We are only voting on number 1. Okay, would you like to move that, please, Mrs. Turner?
Sorry, I move the approval of policy 915, booster organizations, for final reading.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Modrak. Questions or comments about this? Okay,
Voting
Mr.
is open. Mrs. Roll?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Nagel, will you please take other?
It would be my honor. There are 2 items under other: student agreements and approval of the Bethel Park School District Strategic Plan. Are there any comments or discussion about either item?
I'd just like them both to be voted on separately.
I would also. Anyone? All right, so I will first move item number 1, student agreements.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Modrak. Mr. McCausland?
Voting is open.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now, it is my pleasure to move the approval of the Bethel Park School District Strategic Plan.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Turner. Comments, questions, discussion?
I would like to start out by thanking everybody who participated in this over the last several months, but over really the last several years. There has been a tremendous amount of community input, staff input, administration input. This is something that I take great pride in having a part of with all of you. And it's something that buoys my faith that this district is going to be in good hands for years to come. Along with this strategic plan, the board, the administration, the staff, and the community we have who are so invested in Bethel Park School District for our children. I'm very proud of all of this, and I'm very proud to have been a part of it, and I'm very proud of all of you.
Other comments, questions?
I think it's just great that we have actually a strategy behind a lot of the things that we're doing. I think that, and this is what was the driver for a lot of this. It felt like we were doing a lot of very tactical things and kind of changing course and kind of not really knowing where the North Star is. But this is our North Star. It is the priorities that we've collected from across the district, from many different stakeholders, and this gives us confidence as we invest in some of these longer-term initiatives. Some of them are expensive, some of them require a lot of work, a lot of investment from people, but we'll have the confidence that we're doing the right thing, that we've picked the right priorities to work on. It'll also help us focus, and there's a million things we could be working on. This helps us prioritize also those things that are the most important, that we need to invest most of our time on, making sure that we're successful. So I think it's fantastic. It's been, it took a long time in the idea stage, but over the last year, wow, we've made fantastic progress. And this it's not the finish line, it's more the starting line, or maybe it's the first lap, okay? But it feels good to get to the finish line of the first lap, at this time, so.
I agree with Mr. Christensen. When he came on the board, he started talking about, well, what's our future plan? Where's our 5-year plan? What's the strategy? And then Mr. Nagel also started to say that. And now we have this strategic plan. Now, I'd like to remind everybody, just as Dr. Walsh reminded us a little while ago, this is going to take 5 years. It's not instantaneous. This approval doesn't mean that all of these things are happening right away, but it is a roadmap for the future, and it is a goal in many different areas, and I think that the future looks very promising as a result of the hard work that everyone put into this strategic planning over this last year, and I am very delighted to vote on it tonight.
Mrs. Dobus, could I also add, to echo Mr. Nagel's comments, I think a great big thank you to my fellow board members, the administration, staff, parents, citizens, and students who really participated and showed a lot of passion and care about where this district is going to be in 5 years. And I think that it's long overdue, and I thank everyone here for their efforts, and I know that this will make me feel very comfortable stepping off the board.
I just want to say that I'm very happy that all 9 of us, the administration, and all the community support worked together on this. This was a huge lift in a year that, you know, we didn't know what it looked like when we started back in this in January. So thank you all. Thank you to the community for your support in all of this. And the main goal of this strategic plan is best in class and students being best in class. And the students are why we're all here every day.
I'm extremely excited about it because we have a vision, we have goals, and now the really hard part will be the measurement of growth. So we will have to, hold ourselves accountable up here along the way. Every meeting that we have, making sure that we are checking off everything that we put into that strategic plan. And I definitely think that we have the momentum to accomplish all of that, and we will get there. So again, I want to thank everybody that was involved, all of the board members, administration, students, parents, community members. I just want to say thanks to everybody who worked so hard.
Any other comments? Okay, Mr. McCausland?
Voting is open.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. At this time, are there any public comments that have been called in?
There are no callers.
No comments?
Nope.
Okay, if there any come in before we adjourn, let me know, please.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, are there any board comments?
I just want to thank the 4 board members for their service. It has been a wonderful 2 years with you. At this point, I've got to learn a lot about each of you individually. Everything's been civil and professional, even though that we can probably get into a heated discussion or debate at times. And we always will not agree, and that's okay. But the civility that we have had among the 9 of us, I really respect that. And I think we're ending on a very good note. And I just want to thank all of you for your service again.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. The last 2 years, working with this whole board has been a lot of fun. I think that in terms of the makeup, how we interacted was fantastic. Like Vince said, yeah, I mean, we there's a lot of diversity. We don't see things all the same way, but I think that's the strength of a good board, not the weakness of a good board. We're able to resolve, differences of opinions really effectively, and I just think it's fantastic. We accomplished a tremendous amount, even with all of the distractions like, COVID and things like that. So, thank you. Thank you for, yeah, well, it's not an accomplishment, it's a distraction, okay? So.
Yeah, I agree with all of you guys. And Connie, I can't believe 24 years, huh? That's
24 years.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. And thank you guys. It's been fun the last 2 years. Take away COVID, we'll be all right.
I've had a lot of people ask me, how did I last 24 years? But, it's really been a nice 24 years. I mean, I've had the opportunity to build schools, redistrict, have students that we had 1,000 students in 9th grade one time. We split them in half came in the morning, half in the afternoon. You think sometimes you have a challenge and you can't find an answer, but it's there, and they all survived quite well. We've also gone to, when I started as an aide, we were having a blue sheet of paper called a teacher learning unit. That's what we had. Look how far we've come. We now had remote learning. Whoever would have thought when we're like writing on a wall when I started out. Also that we had We've gone from 9,500 students to 4,100. Been a big change in how we manage the district and what we had to do. I've gone through 9 superintendents, all been different, all brought something to the table, you know, any way you look at it. Also that we've talked about oftentimes what you gain out of it, and I've always felt like I've been out and students have come up to me. You don't think you've made an impact, but they come up to you and they'll thank you for something you've done. The other day I went to Senator Robinson's office, and one of his aides came up to me and said, "Mrs. Rule, I know you. You gave me my diploma in 2005. And it was like, you know, you don't realize that students will remember you and you've made an impact in some way. And that part I'm going to miss working with the students. But it's been a good ride. I am so glad to see a strategic plan. Imagine being on the board this long and like every time it was like, okay, now what do we do? What do we, you know, it's great to have direction. And I think it's good that Dr. Walsh has come on board at this time. The timing was right for us. And there's a lot of exciting things. And when I first came on this board, I thought I came on for education. The first meeting was, they were handing me windows to decide what kind of window was going to go on the renovation of the old high school. And I thought, I didn't sign up for this. And then the next meeting was something else with construction. I was really getting discouraged. But, you know, as I leave the board, I'm kind of glad that I don't have to look at windows and pick floor tile and things like that. Sorry, but you'll have your chance, and I think you'll do fine. I'm looking forward to seeing what the district looks like when it's all done. Thank you.
We have one comment before further board comments. Go ahead.
Sure. You have Mr. Foote on the phone. Adam, are you there?
I am, yes.
Okay, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening. I just wanted to briefly comment on the comprehensive facility study that was done by Hayes. You know, the options were quite extensive, and there were dozens of options with multiple subsets, but they all rely on using either existing building spaces or the locations. And in an email earlier to the board, I had just asked, I would like to see, you know, an additional option that at least examines the feasibility of a centralized K-5 center located on the current campus adjacent to the high school. And my thought is that a centralized campus, you know, for the purpose of operations, curriculum, safety, and student experience, I think it would just be very beneficial to the community and ultimately our students. So I know that the whole process is in the works right now, and as Hayes continues to bring forward some options, I think looking at, again, a centralized campus of all of our students along Blackhawk Drive, and then also utilizing IMS for 678 would be something to at least look at prior to making the final decision. So thank you, and also thank you to all the outgoing board members for all of your time over the years. So thank you. Bye.
Go ahead, Mr. Spacuzza.
Yeah, this is actually the second time that I've done this.
Will there be a third?
No, there will not. And it's a really an unfortunate reason that I'm sitting here for these last 2 years. And if most of you are aware of a good board member, a good teacher, educator, friend of the community, Cindy Buckley, who passed away, and I was appointed to replace her for the last 2 years and a month of her term. And to echo some of the words that Vince said earlier, I think that thinking about all this, the night that I got appointed 2 years ago was a little tumultuous, and I guess my feelings are, to echo your words, Vince, I think that we've really grown as a board. I think that we all had some skepticism and not understanding. You guys were new on the board, et cetera. And I think we've grown from each other and learned with our administration and staff, et cetera. But I think it's been a really good experience. I've learned a lot from all of you, and I hope you've learned something from me. And Barry, if we all agreed, then we'd just be yes men or women, and we would get nothing accomplished. So a good, solid discussion, stand on your convictions. If you don't do that, then there's no reason to be here. we all have to stand up for what we believe is the right thing. And I think we all have believed that the number one thing is the education of our students in the community. So I'd just like to thank everybody for allowing me to be on the board. It's been an honor. It's time for someone else to do this. And I know several of us probably feel that way right now. But I will miss it. I have enjoyed it, and I don't think there's another place I want to be other than Bethel Park. So thank you all.
Mrs. Dobas, I'd like to wish you, Russ, Connie, and Ken happy retirement, but hope that your skills that you all brought to this board and to making this team of 9, along with the superintendent, work will be used again to help us in the future if we so need it, as to tweak strategic plans, tweak floor plans. I've walked the floors of the high school with Mr. Spacuzza looking at rumbles in the to all of you, thank you for your service. Thank you for making Bethel Park what it is. Also, Mrs. Sutton, welcome to IMS. And finally, IMS is losing someone in January that's been a large part of the community for a long time. Judy Kasanovich, I wish you the best in retirement, but I do know that we will both be in the same place on June 3rd, so I hope to see you then. Thanks.
I'd like to thank the 4 of you for everything you've done these last couple of years as we transitioned this board. I think was very effective and very knowledgeable that you brought to the table, and you set a good example for our future as board members as we welcome our new 4 board members and how to operate and make sure that we are keeping everybody, the kids are interested in keeping this district moving in the right direction, moving forward the best we can. I've known the 3 of you for a long time, and Ken over the last couple of years. I wish nothing but the best to you and your future endeavors. I know some people have grandchildren they're chasing after in other states, and some have little ones that are growing up fast. But again, thank you for everything you've done for us and the direction and the guidance and that wisdom you brought to us and the energy you brought to us. And thank you. And it has been a good 2 years, and I've said it before, and to repeat other people. We did not always agree, but one thing we always did, we were able to function as the school board at Bethel Park, and you were a good example of that, so thank you. And also, along with Judy, I've known Judy for a long time, and we wish her well in her retirement plans also. But again, thank you, folks.
So I want to thank all of you for the service. It's been a pleasure to serve with you. I want to thank the administration for your support. I want to give a couple special thank yous to Mrs. Dobas and Mr. Christensen for both being mentors to me as I came on the board as an electrician, not knowing much about being on a school board or education. To Mrs. Dobas in particular for serving as board president over very tumultuous times, almost a wholesale change in administration, COVID, helping navigate us through a strategic plan. Your leadership and guidance, none of this was possible without you. Most of all, though, to the community. This community is amazing. This community is such a home to me and my family, and this community has been an inspiration to me all along, and none of this could have been accomplished without a community so invested and so passionate. So thank you guys all. It was very humbling to allow me on this journey with you.
Any other comments? Any other public comments?
There are no more callers.
Okay. I just would like to say I'm excited for the future of this community, excited for the education of my grandchildren. Thank you, good luck, and God bless. I would like a motion to adjourn. So moved by Ms. Rule and seconded by Mr. Modrak. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.